Hey guys, my name is Catherine. Thank you for joining me again for another episode of Missing the Missing. In this episode, number 20, we're going to be talking about Lucas Tronche. Lucas Tronche was born on Sunday the 18th of April 1999 in Bagnols-Sur-Cèze, a small Roman town in the Gard department of the Occitanie region in southern France. The town historically had a population that fluctuated around the 5,000 mark until the Morcon nuclear centre was built in 1956, when the population more than doubled and has continued to expand ever since. In 2012, the town's population was 18,375. It was the nuclear centre that employed Lucas' parents, Natalie and Eric, who were both engineers at the site with the French Alternative Energies and Atomic Energy Commission, known as the CEA. The CEA is a public government-funded research organisation in the areas of energy, defence and security, information and health technologies, including nuclear reactors and using radionuclides for curing illnesses, amongst others. Lucas had a younger brother and an older brother called Valentin, and there appeared to be no issues within the family unit. He was described as an ordinary teenager, with no personal issues, and who didn't like disappointing others. He was balanced and rounded, happy and kind. He was helpful and loved nature, and had been a local scout troop for many years, it being one of his passions. I've read two different accounts of where Lucas went to school. One says that he was in his first year at the Lycée Albert Einstein, and another claims he went to Collège Gérard Philippe. Both are located in Lucas' hometown of Bagnols-Sur-Cèze, about a 7-minute walk from one another. Either way, according to his teachers, Lucas was a very good student who had aspirations of becoming a vet. Not surprising considering how much he adored animals. He was described as introverted but sociable in equal measure, and was athletic, being a member of badminton and swimming clubs. Although a modern teen, Lucas was described as rarely using social media, having deleted his Facebook account after it had been hacked, but he could often be found on Snapchat. For anybody who may not know, Snapchat is a photo and video exchange application that self-destructs messages after a few seconds and is hugely popular with youths. On the lead up to his disappearance, the family were planning a trip to the United States and had gone skiing in late February 2015, just a month before he vanished. Despite skiing being his favourite holiday, according to his father Eric, Lucas was not entirely joyful on the trip and appeared to have trouble sleeping. There is also some suggestion that his appetite was impacted for a few days, though there seemed to be no trigger for this change in behaviour. However, in the days immediately preceding the disappearance, Lucas appeared to be in much better spirits. Just 4 days prior, on Saturday the 14th of March, he spent the day with family and a cousin who he rarely saw but whose company he enjoyed. From the Saturday night and through the Sunday day, he was on a scout trip in the medieval plains of Saint-Victor-le-Coste, a nearby commune built against a hill, overlooking a plain covered in vineyards and with the Rhone Valley in the distance. Eric, his father, recalled that Lucas came back delighted. He then went on to school as usual on the Monday and Tuesday, and went to his weekly badminton game at Coubertin Gymnasium on Tuesday evening. Eric again recalled that he came back super happy. It appeared that a new person had started and they had bonded. At the time of his disappearance, Lucas was described as a 15-year-old European male with a slim build. He had brown eyes and short, light brown or dark blonde hair, was 5'4" to 5'6", or 165 to 170 centimetres tall. It is unknown what he was last seen wearing. Wednesday the 18th of March, 2015, was a sunny spring day, and the Tronche family went about their business as usual. Natalie dropped Lucas off at school at 7:45 a.m. before heading on to work. Lucas went to all classes that morning, and schoolmates recalled that he seemed rather happy. Eric, his father, remembered that Lucas finished school early that day, having only had classes in the morning. Quote, he arrived home about 12:20 p.m. and had lunch. His younger brother's nanny, Annick, was there preparing him for a friend's birthday party that he had been invited to in nearby Colombier, just over 3 kilometres away. Annick originally asked Valentin to accompany his brother to the party, but he declined and Lucas ended up going with him instead. His mother Natalie had left a €20 note, out of which Lucas bought a €7 gift. The boys returned home at about 3 o'clock that afternoon, with the nanny leaving a short time later. Valentin played on his computer until about 4 o'clock before heading downstairs to eat. At this time, he sees Lucas alone in the yard with his iPhone, though it's not clear what he was doing with the phone at the time. Later that day, Lucas and his older brother, 17-year-old Valentin, were due to take the bus to the Foreign Legion swimming pool in Laudun-le-Ardois for their weekly swimming lessons. They would take the Edgard bus from over the Schumann Bridge and would normally have to leave the house by 5 o'clock. The journey would have taken between 30 to 45 minutes. Both parents were still in work at this time as usual. That day, though, the boys were running late. Valentin told his brother, "We have to move," to which Lucas responded words to the effect of, "Go ahead, I'm locking up." Valentin knew that Lucas had intended to take his scooter to the bus stop and, seeing his brother with his pool stuff in his hand, left at 5:05, expecting to meet up with his brother at the bus stop. It is believed that Lucas did leave the Tronche family home at 5:10 and locked the door behind him, but he didn't make it to the bus stop. Valentin called Lucas at about 5:30 as the bus was due to arrive, but Lucas' mobile phone was allegedly switched off at this time. Valentin assumed Lucas had changed his mind about going to swimming practice and went alone. At 6 o'clock, their mother Natalie arrived home from work, finding the door locked and nobody home. It's not clear where Lucas' younger brother was at this time, or if he had left with the nanny earlier in the day, though nothing appeared out of the ordinary at this time. At 8 o'clock, Natalie went to the bus stop to pick up his sons. Though Valentin told her at this time that Lucas hadn't gone swimming, he had assumed that Lucas had missed the bus and had stayed at home. Natalie, though, who had by that time been home for 2 hours, knew that Lucas wasn't there either. She contacted the hospital accident and emergency department to see if there may have been an accident which had sent him to the hospital, but he wasn't there. She contacted Lucas's friends, but none claimed to know where he was. When she had no luck in tracking him down, she contacted the police to report him missing the same evening. Eric found out that Lucas had disappeared when he returned home from work at 11 o'clock. French police opened an investigation into a concerning disappearance the same evening, before handing the case over to both the Montpellier Regional Judicial Police Service, or SRPJ, and the Central Agency for Eliminating Violence Against Persons, or OCRVP, just a week later on the 25th of March. All agencies were in agreement that the disappearance was concerning and very much out of character. Lucas didn't fit the character profile of a runaway, and so on the 30th of March, the Nîmes Prosecutor's Office opened a judicial investigation into suspected abduction and illegal confinement, though there was no evidence to support the suspicion. City CCTV cameras captured footage of Valentin going over the Schumann Bridge, but not Lucas. Officers interviewed friends and family, teachers and teammates, sports coaches, and even drivers who had passed through the area on the day that Lucas disappeared, but no leads surfaced. Soldiers patrolled the surrounding areas the day after the disappearance, and many searches were organised, with more than 1,500 people taking part, along with helicopters equipped with thermal vision, dogs, and water search and rescue, searching hills, cliffs and paths in a 4-kilometre radius of the Tronche family home and the River Cèze. Within days, the Tronche family home was searched, revealing that Lucas had left his swimming gear, keys and ID behind. His mother confirmed that his swimwear had been moved, but it was clean at home. However, a family backpack, which was customarily used by Lucas for swimming, was missing and believed to have been taken with him. "I am convinced that he left with it," said Natalie. It is not known what, if anything, the rucksack contained, and any other items believed to have been missing or taken have not been publicly released. It was reported that he hadn't taken any money with him, as he was known to have had €120 in cash in his room from gifts that he had saved up. "They are still in his room," said Eric. However, we do know that Lucas would have €13 change left from the €20 note his mother had left for him to purchase the birthday gift earlier that day. It has not been confirmed or denied if this was found in the home. Other items that stood out as not having been taken with Lucas were a sleeping bag or a knife, which his father insists he would have known to have taken if he was intending to leave of his own accord for a prolonged period of time. "His knife is there when he always takes it first. It's particularly bizarre," said Eric. Lucas' iPhone was also missing and presumed to have been taken with him. Technical analysis showed that Lucas's mobile phone had been switched off at 14 minutes past 5, just minutes after his brother had left him to lock up the house. Further investigation showed that there was an exchange of mobile data in the hour preceding Lucas's disappearance, at the time when Valentin saw him in the yard on his phone. His father Eric explained. The operator sees activity, hypothesizing that Lucas could have been engaging or communicating with somebody on Snapchat at the time. Whilst one account claimed that Snapchat failed to provide information to the SRPJ in Montpellier, a further source cites that a formal judicial request was submitted to the United States authorities to access Lucas's exchanges on Snapchat. The request was apparently granted, though the conversations and activities allegedly didn't reveal anything of relevance to the investigation. Additionally, Lucas's computer and tablet was searched, but nothing of interest or importance was found there either. Investigators also used luminol in the home. Luminol is a chemical product that reacts to copper and iron, therefore showing the presence of blood in a potential crime scene, though can also react to bleach used to clean a scene. Positive results were found on the carpet near Lucas's bed and were examined to identify whether it was blood or a cleaning agent. Results have not been publicly released. Thousands of people campaigned on social networking sites, sharing information and posters with the slogan Je cherche Lucas, or I'm looking for Lucas, with appeals from singers, authors, and television and radio hosts. Posters were put up in over 1,000 towns and cities throughout France. The case was reported on a variety of television programs. The disappearance of the teen touched the hearts of the French public. Various witnesses reported seeing a person matching Lucas's description just hours after he vanished. A neighbour claimed to have seen him between 5:15 and 5:30 on the day of his disappearance, heading down the Chemin de Saduran towards the vineyards in the opposite direction to the bus stop and the swimming pool. Just 500 metres from there, another neighbour reported that at midday on Thursday the 19th of March, she saw someone matching Lucas's description crossing a yard in front of her farm. Dogs were brought to the scene and a scent was followed north for 1 kilometre, though it was not confirmed whether or not this was Lucas's scent. The same day, on the 19th of March, at 6:30 p.m, a family friend by the name of Rashid Gamri was out searching with other volunteers when he saw a silhouette of what appeared to be a young person standing at the top of a hill in the distance at dusk. He took a photograph, though it was of poor quality due to the lighting, and the identification of the individual could not be confirmed. Another team of volunteers claimed to have seen Lucas in the hills above Saint-Gervais at 10:30 a.m. on Monday the 23rd of March. The person in question was seen watching vineyard workers before disappearing into the woods. A week after the disappearance, a 25-year-old motorcyclist passing through a neighbouring village reported seeing Lucas in the late afternoon of the same day, the 23rd of March. The boy was described as walking with a rucksack along a track towards Esparuzan, which is a hamlet in the commune of Saint-André-de-Roquepetuis. The boy was seen heading towards a hill. This area was also searched by dogs and even a helicopter, to no avail. A teenage boy and his father also reported seeing Lucas on the afternoon of Saturday the 28th of March in Le Potet in the Vaucluse region. He was allegedly accompanied by a woman aged between 45 and 50 years, not further described. Sadly, follow-up investigations proved fruitless. 7 months after Lucas disappeared, in October 2015, Natalie and Eric Tronche started receiving strange and anonymous letters claiming that Lucas was safe and well and had left to start a new life. They were told that Lucas didn't want to be found and that they shouldn't worry. In total, 11 letters were received, prompting an investigation. The same month, the non-profit organisation Retrouvons Lucas, or Let's Find Lucas, was created to continue the efforts to find him. The following month, Lucas's parents appeared on the programme Live Crime, My Child is Missing on NRJ12 with television host Jean-Marc Morandini in order to raise awareness of Lucas's case. They went on to feature on the It's a Story programme in January 2016 on France 2 with Sophie Devant. On the 1st of March 2016, southern France was rocked by a similar disappearance. Almost a year after Lucas disappeared, in Clarensac, a village 38 miles or 62 kilometers from Bagnols-Sur-Cèze, a 16-year-old called Antoine Zoya disappeared after leaving his home at about 1:30 p.m. Antoine was a second-year high school student studying science at the Lycée Albert Camus in Nîmes, and many considered his personality to be similar to Lucas. Antoine was last seen buying cigarettes and a lighter before disappearing. Investigators considered a link between these two disappearances, though none would be found. The day after the one-year anniversary of Lucas's disappearance, on the 19th of March 2016, a balloon release took place in Bagnols-Sur-Cèze and approximately 30 other towns and cities throughout France. In May 2016, a major poster campaign was launched in an attempt to locate Lucas. Giant 4x3-meter placards were installed on roadsides across the Gard, Drôme and Vaucluse regions. The letters we mentioned earlier continued to be received by the Tronche family until the summer of 2016, when investigators were able to identify the sender from CCTV footage at the post office where one of the letters was posted on the 12th of July. It transpired that the sender was a 57-year-old man from Valence who had nothing to do with Lucas's disappearance. Between August and October of 2016, billboard company J.C. Dassault provided boards throughout France completely free to the Retrouvans Lucas organisation. This was the first time in France that the measure had been taken in respect of a missing person. A 10-second video was also broadcast at various service stations nationally, though no leads were garnered. In December of the same year, a composite sketch was released by French National Police to try and locate a witness seen by a passerby near Lucas's home on the day of his disappearance. Sadly, he was never located. On the second anniversary of Lucas's disappearance, the 18th of March 2017, another balloon release was held in Bagnols-Sur-Cèze, as well as a mannequin challenge, in which more than 200 people took part to demonstrate how time has stopped for the Tronche family in the years since Lucas vanished. The event attracted a large gathering which included the local mayor. In May of 2017, further tests were carried out on the matter which tested positive under luminol during the original investigation. The results of these tests were also not publicly released. On the 27th of August 2017, 8-year-old Maëlys Desrochaux disappeared in the early morning hours from a wedding in the Chambéry region of southeastern France. More on this later. In September of 2017, Natalie and Eric appeared on the programme In Olivier's Eyes, with Olivier Delacroix to raise more awareness and try to elicit tips, though sadly none surfaced. The same month, the composite sketch originally released by French National Police in December 2016, showing a witness seen by a passerby near Lucas's home on the day of his disappearance, was modified and made more precise, though again, nothing came to light as a result. The following month, in October 2017, the male responsible for sending the letters to the Tronche family was sentenced by a court in Nîmes to 1 year imprisonment and a further year suspended. On the 11th of January 2018, investigators considered the possibility that the prime suspect in the 2017 disappearance of 8-year-old Maëlys Desrochaux was also involved in Lucas's vanishing. The suspect admitted in February 2018 to killing Maëlys, leading investigators to her remains on the 14th of February. The suspect had regularly been in the Gard region and had relatives near to Bagnols-Sur-Cèze. Almost 2 weeks later, though, on the 27th of February, he was cleared as a suspect in Lucas's disappearance after mobile phone analysis suggested that he was over 100 miles, or 160 kilometers away on the day Lucas vanished. Later that year, on the 2nd of October 2018, Antoine Zoya was located. Tragically, his skeletonized body was found hanging from a tree in a remote wooded area near to Clarenzac, from where he disappeared 2 years prior. It is suspected that Antoine committed suicide, ruling out any potential link to Lucas's case. On the 18th of October, the witness seen near the bus stop on the day of Lucas's disappearance was finally located and questioned by investigators, but police advised that there was nothing to suggest a link between him and Lucas's disappearance. The main theories in this case begin with the possibility that Lucas left of his own accord, sadly to end his life. Law enforcement consider this unlikely, citing that Lucas doesn't fit the profile and that it would be very much out of character for him. There was nothing going on in his life or within his family or school at the time, which may suggest a trigger or reason for doing so. However, it is interesting that the month prior to his vanishing, his father noted that he appeared less than joyful and that his appetite and sleep had been affected, though this appeared to dissipate as quickly as it had arisen, with the week prior to his disappearance suggesting that Lucas was back to himself again and seemed to be quite happy. We also need to consider, though, that for another young man, Antoine Zoya, suicide seemed like the furthest thing from his mind. But after making a simple purchase at a store, it appears that he wandered into the wilderness with the sole intention of ending his life and, tragically, remained unfound for 2 years. So you never quite know what someone is thinking, and maybe people themselves don't always know what they intend to do until they're in the process of doing it. Moving on is the potential for Lucas to have left of his own accord for other reasons. Within this theory are a number of possibilities. In the first instance, did Lucas run away to start afresh elsewhere? Given the very limited possessions he had with him at the time, this would be difficult without assistance, and likely from an adult. However, Lucas's computers and mobile devices were analysed and nothing significant stood out. There didn't appear to be any hint of grooming, and Lucas had a very active social life, leaving little time to engage with a stranger unknown to the family. His schoolmates claimed to know nothing and said he was acting normal on the day he disappeared. If he intended to leave for the long term, as a scout he would have certainly taken his knife with him, knowing it could be of vital assistance in a number of situations. Equally, the publicity for the case was huge and on a national level. Surely someone somewhere would have recognised him. Though there were numerous sightings reported in the days and weeks since his disappearance, and most by individuals known to Lucas, and who therefore would have every reason to make a positive identification. However, none of the sightings were able to be substantiated as the boy was never located for his identity to be established. His mother Natalie is convinced that Lucas didn't want to take the bus to the swimming pool. He had no intention of going, she said. She believes that he wouldn't have told his older brother because Valentin would have forced him to go, would have tried to convince him, she said, though where he may have gone instead is up for debate. It is plausible to consider that Lucas may have taken off temporarily to have a bit of a breather, fully intending to make it home either in the hours or days that followed. However, foul play could have befallen him before he was able to do so. A witness did see an unknown man near Lucas's home on the day of his disappearance, though despite a police composite sketch, the man has never been identified. Not to mention the fact that police investigated a possible connection between Lucas's case and the abduction and murder of Melis de Arocho. The suspect was ruled out officially in 2017, when mobile phone analysis suggested he was over 100 miles or 160 kilometers away on the day of the disappearance. However, prosecutors investigating Melis's murder suspect that her killer was a serial killer. The same individual was charged also with the murder of 23-year-old soldier Arthur Neuer, who disappeared while hitchhiking after a disco in Chambéry, about 3 hours northeast of Bagnols-Sur-Cèze, on the 12th of April 2017, after his mobile phone and CCTV footage placed him at the same place at the same time. Considerations are also being investigated relating to his potential involvement in over 20 disappearances. The missing don't have a great deal in common with each other, and the subject, if links are proven, may be the worst serial killer France has seen in decades. Sadly, we may never know what happened to Lucas on the 18th of March 2015 in Bagnols-Sur-Cèze, France. In this section, I'd like to draw your attention to a ray of light I discovered during my research into Lucas's case. The Retrouvance Lucas Association was created in the aftermath of Lucas's disappearance to provide support to the Tronche family and to do everything possible to find Lucas, or to help him to make his own way home. The organisation has been endorsed by many notable European persons, including the late Belgian singer Moran. The agency hosts a website with a wealth of information relating to the case and keeps in firm communication with Natalie and Eric Tronche, doing everything they can to come together as a community in concern for Lucas. It is an admirable cause, and I hope that they are successful in their search to find Lucas, bring him home, if that's what he wants, and reunite him with his family. I'd like to leave you now with a repeat of Lucas's description and some final words in the case. At the time of his disappearance, Lucas was described as a 15-year-old European male with a slim build. He had brown eyes and short light brown or dark blonde hair, was 5'4" to 5'6", or 165 to 170 centimetres tall. It is unknown what he was last seen wearing. If seen today, Lucas would be 20 years old. The Retrouvance Lucas organisation sums things up nicely when they say, quote, "In solidarity and with determination, we are stronger united together. Let's find Lucas. We will deploy all our energy to find a track, a testimony, a trace, a clue guiding us towards Lucas." The organisation also has search notices available in a variety of languages on their Facebook page, as well as listing useful information regarding what to do if you think you see Lucas. If possible, take a photo with your phone to communicate it to the SRPJ. This is the fastest way to identify a person. Phone 0467993597. Take as many clues as possible: car brand, registration number, description of any people accompanying him, etc., to communicate them to the SRPJ. If the photo is impossible to take, do not hesitate to note as many details as possible, which will be very precious to the investigators. The person's clothing, their haircut, their accessories worn like backpacks, purses, caps, etc. Is he accompanied? Also, try to note the direction taken after departure. On the 18th of March 2020, on the 5th anniversary of Lucas's disappearance, his parents Natalie and Eric gave their final words to date in the case. After several years of communication and mobilisation, that you do not forget us and that you continue to support us and to look for our dear Lucas, who has disappeared for 5 years now. The action continues. The hope is still there to find our son. Please find here all our hope and recognition. The time has come for us and our family to withdraw. This is why there will be no rally this year. Sometimes the withdrawal can leave room for advances. We wait for them again and again. We know you understand us. Thank you to all. They do, however, end their message with contact details of who to get in touch with if you know something about the case. They will be in the description box below. And one final thing that I was shocked to find out was that as of August 2018, France does not have a national database containing the details of unidentified bodies discovered there, nor do they have a national database that holds information about missing persons, nor their or relatives' DNA. I sincerely hope that this attitude changes before long, before more identities are lost to time and in time to bring people home. If you have any information relating to the disappearance of Lucas Tronche, please use the contact detail in the description box to get it to those who can act on it. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to come and listen to more about Lucas. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Alors, lui c'est
Jean-Mi, et lui c'est Jackie.
le défi.
C'est une YouTube de défis culinaires, voilà.
Autre chose à dire.
Voilà, donc on en inventera certains et peut-être que plus tard, si on n'a plus d'idées, on vous demandera. On a une petite idée déjà.
Ouais.
Pour la première, une escalope, on vous en dit pas plus. Une bonne escalope à
comme on aime.
à la Jackie et
À la
Jean-Mi.